one of the things that we did pretty consistently when I coached high school basketball, which I did for 11 years at Thief River Falls, was we had a great emphasis on being an on-the-line, up-the-line, pressure defensive team. Old Dick Bennett, Coach Meyer influence, and one of the ways we did that was through 3-on-3 drills. The rationale for that was that I'm guessing that everybody in here does shell. I'm guessing everybody in here does disadvantage drills, and we did those too, and they're great. We felt like this was the best way to build our defense from the ground up, and it also allowed our kids to just focus on one aspect of our defense versus, okay, well, am I supposed to be in help here? Am I supposed to? Right now, if we're 3-on-3 above, for instance, we're just working on one thing, and it was our way to just kind of simplify it, and then allow our kids to play out of it a little bit. I don't know about you, but I think sometimes we get frustrated with our shell drill, and that we'll have kids that kind of go through the motion. They're not getting after it. They're not maybe competing the way you'd like them to. It was a way for us to get some conditioning in for our kids. I don't particularly like running kids. I run them when I get mad at them, but I really would like our practices set up so that we don't have to condition at the end of practice. I don't know how many practices you get in a year, but if you're going to take 15 minutes at the end of every practice to run them, take 15 times all the practices you had and think about all the time they could have been shooting baskets, shooting free throws, doing some of those other things that maybe would have made them a better basketball player. And I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form that conditioning doesn't matter. It obviously does. But how can we develop some conditioning within what we're trying to teach? So that was another reason for our 3-on-3 stuff. As I was sitting there listening to Coach Krause, I put a bunch of notes down. And one of the other reasons, one of the things that I really liked about our 3-on-3 in hindsight was it allowed me to use all my assistant coaches. If you've ever worked for a guy or lady that doesn't allow you to coach, that's not a lot of fun. Now, as a high school coach, sometimes you get the English teacher, or somebody that maybe isn't a coach but really wants to help out, and you're in a bind. I coached tennis and golf for a couple years, and nobody wants to see me do that ever again. But, we get put in those spots sometimes where we got to help out. And in our 3-on-3 stuff, I would be underneath the hoop. I'd have an assistant on the sideline with our kids, and I'd have one on the other end. And maybe your guy or girl that isn't so doesn't have a great acumen for basketball, you can tell them to watch one particular thing. If they don't pressure shot today, we're going to do push-ups. If they're not blocking out, we're going to do push-ups. Whatever that emphasis is that you need on that given day, you can have them watch that. Coach Meyer, when I was at Northern State, was the absolute best, and I was just a graduate assistant. He was the absolute best at making all his assistants feel wanted and needed. Every day he'd say, "Chris, what do you want to work on in practice?" And I was just kind of trying to feel my way and learn some basketball. I didn't know what I wanted to work on. He was the expert, but he absolutely made me feel involved. So another reason for our 3-on-3 stuff. The reason we played pressure, and I won't go through all of this, the reason we played pressure is because we felt like we could steal a little bit of practice time from teams. Sitting here talking to Coach Galovich, and we played them in a section final a few years ago, and we tried to replicate their matchup zone and their zone press, and it was impossible to do. We actually went out to our junior college where I'm at now and tried to have our junior college team do what they did, and they couldn't even get close. Okay? So find something that you do that you can maybe steal a little bit of practice time as you go into that game, and okay, how do you prepare for Coach Galovich's matchup zone? Well, you really can't. And that was kind of our rationale for playing pressure man-to-man the way that we did. And one of the things, it fit my style, and I can't stand letting guys get open jump shots. If you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us driving it. You're going to earn it in our, in the grand scheme of things. I could deal with that. I could put my head on the pillow at night as long as I wasn't letting somebody just knock down wide open threes against us. So it fit my style, and if I was a defensive coordinator in football, and I wouldn't be for very long, we'd blitz every time. You know, that was kind of our approach with it, and it was a little bit of a roll the dice approach. So before we get started, I'll make some assumptions that obviously we've taught stance and closeouts. We've talked about vision. We talk, huge emphasis in defense. We want to teach some toughness every day. I think 3-on-3 teaches some toughness. Hopefully you'll see it here today. You got to have a commitment to making stops. You got to be a little bit offended when somebody scores on you, I think. And then you've developed some trust with your kids that they'll go out and play hard for you. You can't take it all away defensively. I don't want to give up middle yet. I don't want to give up baseline. I don't want to give up the three. I don't want to give up the backdoor cut. You can't take it, and if you can take it all away, it doesn't matter because you're really good anyway. You're going to beat who's ever on your schedule. So for us, we decided there's some things that we absolutely got on our kids about, but some things that we didn't. We rarely hear us get mad at a kid for a backdoor cut, giving up a backdoor cut, for instance, because we're rolling the dice. We're getting up in the passing lanes. Good teams will get that on you once in a while. We know that. Okay, so it was a way for us to develop some trust, and hopefully you've done that through whatever means necessary. One of the things, if you go down to where's the ball, one of the things that we often say to our kids is when they make a defensive mistake, guys, where's the ball? You know, and you play that game with them. Well, what are you guarding? Well, the ball. You know, and I always have to be aware where that's at. At the college level this year, we really struggled being in help when the ball was dribbled. We were pretty good on the pass, but when the ball got dribbled, we really struggled with moving as the ball moved. So one of the things that we say a lot in our practice is, that, hey guys, where's the ball? You got to know. So